Good day, everybody, and welcome to hashtag MARKETECH Mondays. This is a show that features industry leaders who will share about their career journey to inspire the world of marketing. This is an initiative of Blogapalooza and MARKETECH APAC. Our guest for today has 30 years of experience in corporate and marketing communication. He has served as president of the Internet and Mobile Marketing Association of the Philippines, or IMAP, chairman of the Association of Accredited Advertising Agencies of the Philippines, or 4As, and chairman of the Ad Standards Council, or ASC. This year, he is the president of the Public Relations Society of the Philippines, or PRSP, and a member of the Board of Trustees of the 4As. Talaga namang big time ang kanyang mga credentials. And currently, he is the president and managing director of Grupo Agatep. Everyone, let us all welcome to the show Mr. Norman Agatep. Hi, Sir Norman.
Hi, Ace. It's great to see you, although virtually only. It would be better if you would see each other face to face, but I'm happy to see you today.
I look forward to that time also, Sir Norman. Nakakamiss ang inyong office in Ortigas. I miss being in the Grupo Agatep office. How are you, Sir Norman? What's been keeping you busy itong period of quarantine?
Well, yeah, ganun nga, no? So we're all working from home, but it's just like any ordinary day. Every day of the week, we get to have some meetings with clients, or we do some huddles with members of our organization. And of course, there are those meetings for the industry associations like the PRSP and the 4A. So, ganun pa din, hindi naman naubusan ng trabaho. And I'm just happy that we get work done despite the fact that we are all working from home.
Yes. Sir, I was wondering, what, and you've been in the industry for a very long time. What is that major change that you've observed pre-COVID, post-COVID in terms of how people work?
With regard to how people work, unang-una ang napansin ko, at least with the brands that we've been working with, a lot of these brands are really trying or striving their best to do even more good than before. Parang there's been a realization that we are now in a different world. We've stepped into something that seemed quite surreal, but really the way to go about this pandemic and this crisis is to even do better, no? And to contribute to that, demonstrate more compassion if possible. Kasi it's a crazy world, no? And this is actually a greater opportunity for us to demonstrate humanity. So believe na believe ako sa mga clients kung gano'n, no? So they developed that thinking that it's an opportunity to do good in this world right now because we all need help. That's one. No, but procedurally, things also have changed. No? So that's mentally, in the way of viewing the world, that's how it's been. No? But procedurally, things have changed. Of course, much work is done just virtually and digitally. And now, unfortunately, there's a difficulty in trying to separate personal and professional life. The time is shifting from one or the other. You have a meeting at 10 a.m. and then you have to start cooking your lunch a few minutes later. And then mga ganon. So those things we really need to get to immerse ourselves in and better maneuver or navigate through.
Yes. And when we talk about your experience being in this industry for a very long time, sometimes it's difficult not to comprehend how did a Norman Agatep start in his career. Yeah, maybe you could walk us through how your first job was like and how you progressed maybe in the next things that you took on in your career journey. But we could start with the first job first.
I will even go earlier than that. I'll go right before the first job, Ace. The night of my graduation from the university, I remember very distinctly walking out of the venue of our graduation, corridor yan, sa eskwelahan. I was my dad, and the president of an ad agency came over and was recruiting me on the spot, asking if I could join his agency It was a pretty big one, right? And he was asking me, nakataon kasama ko yung tatay ko. Then
Yes.
my dad was saying, but wait, no, before you even ask my son about entering your agency, I might as well be the first one to ask him. Uh, so,
Oo.
uh, so that was already an opportunity lost because
Yes.
I didn't get to work for that agency. But what I did instead was not get into agency work immediately. So I began really as a high school teacher.
Mhm.
So during the summer of right after graduation, I tried nag-demo class ako and stuff. And pumasa naman ako sa demo class ko, and I taught English literature and composition. It was
So it's really communication talaga yung line.
communication pa din. And then I was recruited by the practical arts department of the same school to
Mhm.
also teach film theory and appreciation.
Yes, yeah.
Yun.
But sir, how did you get into this marketing field? I mean, communication is closely tied to public relations, yes.
Yeah.
But like, how did that journey go
Sure.
for
Sure.
you?
Yeah. I kind of thought even growing up that I would get into this type of business. It was something we all talked about over lunch in the family kasi all of us are somehow involved in communication, no? Or in the arts, no? So I do have sisters who write, I do have sisters who illustrate. There's a dancer in the family. There is a chef in the family. So we're all involved in somehow expressing ourselves or
Yes.
communicating through whatever medium. No, and it also helped, of course, that my dad was in marketing already ever since. And again, no, over lunch, you would talk about brands. It was
Yeah.
not alien to me. I remember watching television, and I would be mesmerized by commercials. So while I'm sure other people would shift channels during the breaks, I was intrigued. No, I would memorize the jingles of
Oh, yes.
some
It was
brands
like,
and stuff. It was fascinating, and so I knew somehow that I was going to get there.
yeah.
And I had so much example from members of my own family.
Mm-mm-mm. We're the same. I was sort of laughing when you were mentioning, I would really watch the commercials. I would memorize the jingles, and
Diba?
commercials from way back when I was little pa, I would still
There you
remember
go.
that because I would really watch them. And I don't know,
Yeah,
parang, di ba, early on in our
yeah,
lives, we had that affinity to those
right.
things. Yeah?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
when you were telling me about your story, sir, you were always mentioning your dad, Sir Charlie Agatep. Now, I want to talk about that father figure, that mentor figure in your life, and I'm sure your dad is one of them. Maybe we could also talk about, what are the most important lessons that you've learned from your dad as your mentor and from your other mentors also.
Ang dami niya, no? That's an entire show
Correct. That's an entire
altogether, no?
episode. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
I
be-
guess it's safe to say that the mentoring that I got from my dad was more holistic because I'd see him at home and then at work and then back at home again.
Mhm.
So kompleto, no, and walang patid yon, no. So the very way that he would dispose of himself at home and the examples he would demonstrate through work ethic in the office and then back at home again, seamless yun, no? So it was something I was surrounded with 24 hours a day kung tutuusin, no?
Yeah.
So he would demonstrate exactly what effective communication would be. He would be very clear in how he would communicate, no?
Yeah.
Yun ang magaling sa kanya. He's a writer at heart, right? So,
Mm.
at saka ang sharp na memory, no? So,
And even
he,
until
he,
now, I
even
would
until
read
now,
his Facebook posts.
right.
Mhm.
You know what shocked me several, I think this is like in Feb this year, no?
Mhm.
He remembered a poem he wrote when he was in his teens.
Wow.
It was a poem that he had entered and had won an award for, no? And he just wrote it again. Dad, that's like 70 years ago.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, oh. But
Binulgar ang age, no? Pero yun,
very
no? His mind is very sharp. He communicates very eloquently and very clearly, very crystal clear. So even
yes.
the way he gives instructions at work, the way he defines tasks, it's always very clear, no? Uh, uh, he does not like
Mhm.
shrouding his messages with so many,
Palabok.
phrases, yeah,
Yeah.
palabok that destroy or steer you away from what he really
Yeah.
wants to say, right?
Yeah.
And then he's also, apart from communication, apart from the ability to express himself very clearly and cleverly, what I really like about him is that he is results oriented. And that's something that's difficult, but just a background noise. Actually, I'm more of the creative side
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
communication, no? So
yeah.
sometimes it gets difficult for me to focus on the results because I'm so buried or entrenched in the task of
Yeah.
creating, no? Pero siya
Yes.
hindi, he's able to distance himself from work and
Mm-hmm.
see kung saan patutungo ito, no? Kung anong
Mm-hmm.
objectives ang kailangan mas maano. So his
Right.
results oriented that way, no?
Mm-hmm.
Which I am continually trying to learn from, no?
Yeah.
Yung kanyang that quality that he has, I'm trying to learn. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm sure that, being surrounded or being with your dad for most of the time when you were growing, nako, I'm sure those key characteristics of your dad has been really part of you already. I'm
Oh,
sure that's why.
yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I mean, your family also runs a very reputable firm called Grupo Agatep. Now, sir, you when I was reading your credentials when I was introducing you kanina, I was really overwhelmed with the many hats that you wear. What is a typical day like for a Norman Agatep?
Um, Gaya na sinabi ko, no, pre and currently, pre-pandemic and currently, ganun din. So, you're right. I do have to wear several hats.
Mm-hmm.
So in the office, it's really managing the teams and making sure that, all our clients are serviced well, no?
Yeah, yeah.
And making sure that we are delivering on what we promised to our
Mm-hmm.
clients. It's also ensuring that the quality of work is up there. No? So I do
Yeah.
get to check on a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the work. Uh, Not all of it anymore because we do have more heads
Yeah.
that are collaborating on this. But I do check certainly the work that's coming out. Kasi
Mm-hmm.
pangalan din namin yun eh, no?
Correct, correct.
Anything that goes out from the agency bears the Grupo Agatep name, and that is the family name. So I do have to check that. So that's one part of it. So
Mm-hmm.
a great part of my day is doing that. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, I pride myself in wanting to serve the industry. So
Yeah.
I've done this in many, well, I guess a decade na rin of contributing some time working for industry association. So
Yeah.
currently that's as president of the PRSP or Public Relations Society of the Philippines and a trustee of the Association of Accredited Ad Agencies of the Philippines. So meetings I would have maybe in a month easily about 5 meetings for those two organizations alone
Mm-mm.
and
Yeah.
and the committees within.
Yeah.
Parang now that you have the opportunity to shape what the industry will be
Mm-hmm.
for the next generation, for me, malaking bagay yun. I feel I owe it to the next generation to be able to make this industry a place that they'd like to work
Yeah.
within soon, right? Now, the
Mm-hmm.
third hat I wear is as an educator. As you mentioned,
Yes.
I do teach, and ito na. So the sem is about to start.
I
And we're
know,
going to
yeah.
be teaching online. We're going to be teaching online. I'm partly dreading it, but I'm partly also excited developing my
Mm-hmm.
materials and
Yeah.
my syllabus
Modules.
for the
Mm.
next class this
Yeah.
sem. Yon. So malawak din yung ginagawa per day. Madami
Yeah.
din.
I wonder, sir, no, how hands-on are you with your schedule? Do you really, do you really control all of that? Or do you have like maybe an EA that does the schedule for you? I mean, you have a lot of things to do. So how do you manage that on a
I
day?
never had an EA.
Mm-hmm.
My dad doesn't even have an EA. I think we were just I don't know. We were probably raised that way.
Mm-hmm.
When growing up as kids, we didn't have help.
Yeah.
So we did everything ourselves, from washing the dishes
Yeah.
to doing the laundry, and it's something that I mean, yeah, I manage my own schedules, but
Oh,
I do entrust tasks naman to my team as well. Um,
yes.
it's not as if I breathe down their necks, no.
Uh-huh.
But
Uh-huh.
I occasionally need for them to tell me what's happening,
Yeah.
where are we, what's the status of this project, and so on, no.
Mm-hmm.
And occasionally, as I mentioned, I tell them, oh, patingin naman ang article na sinulat natin, how's it going? How can I help? Maganon. So it's not as if it's not as if I'm that I'm micromanaging. I do give space to all members of my team, but I do want to be involved in a way, however, that that doesn't intimidate them or make them worry a lot. I give
Yeah.
space to them. Yeah.
Yeah, I can relate so much. I mean, our company right now, Blogapalooza, we're not yet that big, but I really want to
Hindi
give
pa
that.
daw.
Oh, grabe po. I really want to give that space. You're right, no, to the team because I want them to be empowered. I want them to think and own things that they do.
Right.
But are you also hands-on, sir? Like talagang you would have weekly meetings with the team, or you're
Yes.
more weekly meetings din kayo, no?
We
Kasi
do have weekly meetings and constant emails.
yes,
Pero yung weekly is, it's not, it's also
it's more,
kumustahan eh.
yeah,
Because we
correct.
don't get to see, people at the office, we look forward, we do that this Fridays eh.
Yes, yes,
Especially the younger set, they want to see kung kumusta na yung mga kasama nila
correct.
dati sa office. And, it also, sometimes we play games lang
Yeah.
online, and then we make it fun. We always wear costumes.
Oh,
Silly
talaga, wow.
costumes on Friday just to meet, pero yon, yes, we do have the weekly meetings, but we
Yeah.
still find ways to make
Yeah.
this, as
Yes.
enjoyable as possible.
So I want to learn from you about leadership also, leading a young team. I mean, I'm sure, PR, ang daming bata. And this is a youthful, an industry that needs a lot of young talent, I would say. How do you manage the young people given our current situation,
I think it helps, like both my dad and I used to be teacher. Well, he was a teacher as well, no? He taught, I think, both high school and college as well, just as I did. And a big part of leadership is training, no? And minsan nga, kung tutuusin, dapat nakakapagod kasi, people eventually move on.
You're right.
And then you have a new set of people to train. But, I really like it. And you have to like it to be able to survive this cycle of forever teaching even the basics of PR and marketing. My dad would, narinig ko yun dati when we would hold office pa rin, physically.
Yeah.
So may bagong set of writers, for example, and then sabi ko, memorize ko na ata yung mga skills on how to train the writers. But he loves doing this because, we all see this as an opportunity nga for the younger set to grow and to love the industry and to be equipped with the proper tools to work successfully in this industry. So so the question is, how do we keep on training them and so on? It's by really loving the craft, being updated yourself, being updated yourself also on, kasi syempre when I started, as you mentioned, 30 years ago,
Yeah.
at the time wala pang online marketing noon, so you just have to keep on growing as well, and being several steps ahead of the people you're going to train, and having an open mind that you're going to learn from them. Hello.
Yes.
That's also why I enjoy teaching in school, at the university, because there's a wealth of information that I didn't realize also that I'm picking up from them.
Correct. Same tayo, sir. I mean, I also teach because I want to learn, you know.
There you go.
I like interacting with the younger ones because honestly, there's so much to learn from the people who are younger than us. And, that's one thing I also admire about you. You're open. You're, you're an empty cup. Kahit alam mo na your experience, goes way, way back. Ang dami mo nang, so much under your belt already. But your learning is andun pa rin. Yung desire for learning is still there.
Yeah.
And,
Parang there is a need to, what do you call this, to admit that we don't have the monopoly of information.
regardless if you've been in that industry since forever, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yes. So and sir, being here for quite a long time, I'm sure you've also had your fair share of failures and successes. And we always ask this, to our guests sa MARKETECH Mondays. We always want to learn what are the most remarkable failures and most distinct successes that you have experienced. Maybe we could start with a failure first.
Sige. And this is not a cop out, Ace.
Yeah.
I don't remember any yung significant failure na na-depress ako or anything. You know, ganito lang siguro. Let me try to describe it. And I'm being bashed by a set of consumers who do not like me.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Any brand might see that as a failure. Oh, I did something na hindi ikinatuwaan ng consumers ko.
Right.
But I feel very strongly that these situations are opportunities to correct maybe a perception about me that they don't have. Or sorry, they have a wrong perception of me and therefore I should change. Or maybe there's something really wrong that therefore I should change so that they become more happier about my brand.
Yeah.
So in the same token, there might have been several failures in the sense that probably I lost an account. Maybe I didn't win a pitch. Maybe a client said that the work was not good enough. But, and again, it's not a cop-out. I don't remember them so distinctly because the attitude should be to take that situation and see how you can be better because of it. But certainly, if there was any failure, it would be a lost client, perhaps. A pitch that I wanted to win but we did not. Maganon. Maganon, essentially.
And I recognize yung feeling na yun, yung parang, you poured everything into that pitch and then it doesn't turn out well. Yung parang, oh my gosh, we got this because ang ganda talaga ng idea. It's really, wow talaga siya. But then, but it happens, and everything happens for a reason. Sir, yung successes naman, the success part, and I'm sure you have a lot, but maybe you could remember or maybe you could talk to us more about 1, 2, 3 stories that really, wow.
Sige.
This is
Sige.
it. Yeah.
Sige. Well, ganun din. Generally, what makes me happy, what I consider successes are pitches won, clients who are happy, people in the office who say that they're very fulfilled working for us. Those are things that are, nakataba talaga ng puso yun eh. Obviously, awards can help. So for example, sa Anvil Awards, we won several top awards for PR programs and PR tools. One dati for Jollibee, one for Intel, one for Shell. One for Warner, more recently for Warner TV. It won those things help. But they're not the only things that make us happy naman eh. For me, happier ako even if you don't win an award if the client is happy. So, we were talking about pitches kanina, no? So one particular pitch I felt very happy winning was this. It was a rather big advertising pitch. We were 5 agencies for a beverage brand. So we were part of the pitching team because we had done a great job with one of the brands. Now they were asking us to pitch for the second beverage brand. No? But there were 5 multinationals. We were the only local agency pa nga. And it was several, 2 presentations. They asked us to revise our presentation, present again. Right? And then the night of that second presentation, brand manager calls, are you guys still in the office? Can I meet with you? And he was at the podium, which is near Galleria where our office is. So we had dinner with him, and he had become a friend because he was also managing the other brand that we were handling.
Yes.
The successful one. And then he was telling us, we were not so impressed with the idea. The other agencies had more, what do you call this? Adventure, bolder ideas, perhaps, right? But we want to work with you. We feel that tayo, kaya natin pag-usapan. I mean, the pitch is an opportunity to see what ideas you have, right? Sure, but it's also an opportunity to see if we will be able to collaborate on this brand. We did not feel that with any of the other agencies. We feel that if we collaborate even more, we will get it right. Maybe the idea right now that we presented is not the greatest one, but we feel very strongly that we can develop a partnership where the idea can eventually turn into something that we both think is going to be right. So super taba ng puso ko kaya no. It was not necessarily, I mean, of course we work day and night for those ideas, and to be told that the ideas were not so great yet. But to be told also that that's not the only thing that makes a brand great. True agency and client partnership also makes the brand great. And I felt, saan ba ako hanap ng client na ganito ulit? Diba?
I know. Yeah, I can totally relate. Grabe. You might not be the biggest. You might not be your idea might not be the best. But we like you. We like working with you. We feel
Yes.
great when we work with you. We feel
Yeah.
amazing. We feel, that we could do more together when it's you and me. Parang ganon.
Correct.
Comfortable.
And speaking about that, no, if you turn that into something that might be a failure, yeah, there are agency client relationships that are
Mhm.
totally failures because it feels like naging utusan ka na lang.
That's
It
true.
feels like parang you're only as good as your last project. Tapos may
Yeah.
banta pa na if you don't do great, may ganun.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I've stepped away, by the way, from some clients like that, and
Right. Yeah.
it
That's true.
parang nakakababa din ng moral, for example, ng people in the office, eh.
You're right.
And
Mm-hmm.
and their feelings also
Mm-hmm.
are paramount to me. So if they don't feel good about the client and they're trying to help them, it might not be worth it at all. So yeah,
Right. And that's very important for leaders to take note also.
yeah,
Sometimes hindi lang talaga siya about the money. It's
it's not.
really more of how the people in the office or how your team would feel working on that project, how you as a leader would also feel getting that project as part of
Absolutely.
your. But yeah, that's really really good. I super appreciate that. I needed to hear that also.
Mhm.
And speaking of lessons also, Sir Norman,
Mhm.
I want to know also, given the many hats that you wear, given the very busy schedule that you have, if you have like a career slogan or a life quote,
Okay.
what is that, and how do you apply that to your life as a marketing leader?
I will give you two lines. And the first
Yes.
one is from my dad, who is, of course, again, one of my mentors. No? And
Mm-hmm.
ever since I've been working with him in PR,
Yeah.
um, 30 years ago, laging sinasabi, Norman, no, madali lang ang trabaho natin. No? PR is about doing good and making people know about it. No? And for some people who don't understand the line, they feel, no, yabang naman pala yun. Yung parang doing good para malaman ng ibang.
Right. Right.
But, in the context of today's situation, it's even a better definition than before. No, for me, it's very clear. PR is for good. It's
Mm-hmm.
not. It is not used for spinning or making you like something that's already bad. No,
Mm-hmm.
it's a marketing tool to infuse good into this world. PR is for good.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for anything else, right? And making people know about it, making people that know about the truth of what you do. It's not
Mm-hmm.
peddling anything fake. It's not spreading disinformation. It's
Right.
simply doing good and making sure people accept this truth and know about this truth about the good that you're doing.
Yeah. Yep.
So for me, it's a definition that has stood the test of time, and it's something that I've personally, ini-imbibe ko yan every time we do a PR program for any of our
Yeah.
clients.
Mm-mm.
The second line that I like to share with you is, God, I think it is from Tolkien. I think
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's and I might be rephrasing it that
Yeah.
not everyone who wanders is lost.
Mm.
Not all who wander are lost. No?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I use this line especially amongst creative people who have to undergo a process to be able to produce something good. Uh, you know, and this is a backstory again. I do have a lot of office mates in the art department, for example, or who are writers, no, uh, who are seen, for example, just staring at their window, and the A's would come to me, sir, hindi nagtatrabaho yan. Nakatingin lang sa, sabi ko, naku, alam nyo, kailangan niya ng space for all, that is the moment when he's already conceptualizing something. So they might be straying, it feels like they're straying away from their objective, no? But the world is that way. We all need that time and opportunity to seemingly stray, to find ourselves in this process, not to get caught up with it, but to allow some me time also to
Mm-hmm.
to cultivate all of these juices. And
Yeah.
for all that's the precise time where the magic will happen. So
Yes.
I like that. Not all who wander. Wag mong sisihin yan na porket pumunta lang yun sa mall at bumili ng kape sa Starbucks. Baka kailangan niya yun, no? Of
Right.
course, wag naman natin abusuhin, no? But we
Yeah.
all need that to be able to be productive. So if
Mm-mm.
we're always just, very rigidly following a timeline na dapat, every minute is something being poured concretely into a PR plan or an
Uh-huh.
advertising project, hindi ganon eh, no?
Yes.
We need to
Yes.
stray somehow. Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's good that it came from you kasi creative ka nga. Creative ka nga. Me kasi, I'm more on the results oriented part
Sure.
than the creative part. The creative, I'm learning that. I'm trying to really learn that. I'm the type who would always think results, results, results. Produce, produce, produce. But you're
Yes.
right eh. You're right eh. There has to be that space. There has to be that parang leeway
Yeah.
for the creative process to take over and just
Yeah.
help you produce that results. Amazing.
Ay, nako, totoo yan.
But there are really those people na talagang super duper creative, 'di ba? There are also those na super duper results oriented. We gotta find that middle ground ba,
Right. So
for
alam mo, kung
that.
tutuusin, now that you mentioned it, a big part of my job is also making sure these two groups get along.
Yes, correct.
Oh,
Oo.
we need each other. Ganun talaga yon.
Yeah. And then it really has to be a leadership technique, a leadership way of doing things.
Yeah.
No? Anyway, Sir Norman, in your job in communications and PR, I'm sure you've dealt with a lot of the influencers. We are in influencer marketing right now in Blogger. It's our specialization. And I also want to learn from you, what are the main learnings over the years in the way that you've related, worked with, handled influencers even?
Well, yeah. I mean, although influencer marketing is a relatively new discipline compared
Mhm.
to, say, PR, no,
Yes.
or even digital advertising, itong influencer marketing, we're all trying to learn more about it, but definitely it's made an impact
Yeah.
on the growth of brands.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think I think I think for me the value really of influencer marketing
yeah.
is that obviously decisions we make to purchase or to patronize are not necessarily done by ourselves, no? uh,
Mm.
in normal life we do have friends and family, oy mare na-try mo na ba ito, no? And then we get influenced that way, no? But now because of the internet, we're exposed to other people and their views and the brands that they like or do not, no? And because we're exposed to all of that, we ourselves are influenced by whatever they are dishing out on their pages. So I do feel very strongly on the value of influencer marketing because yun nga, we all know that people do not they, it doesn't sound so great, no, but they don't
Yeah,
rely on themselves alone anymore.
correct, correct. I agree.
Diba? They value the opinions of the people whom
Yes.
they at least the people that they trust and they know are authentic and ganon.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, I believe very strongly in it, and so yes, for many of the brands that we've been handling, yeah, we've brought into the picture some celebrities who are influencers and some even non-celebrities but who are
Non-celeb.
nonetheless respected, like doctors, for example,
Correct.
or foodies,
Yes,
normal,
yes, yes.
regular people who just like to eat,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
not necessarily those who pay big bucks to dine, but people who just have a critical palate, and
Yeah.
like posting on Instagram about the
Yeah.
things they eat. They help a lot, no? And sometimes pa nga hindi kalakihan ng kanilang fan base, but kita-kita
Right.
mo naman sa engagement nila that people really value their thoughts
Mm-mm,
on a
mm-mm,
particular subject matter.
mm-mm.
So
And you've
yun,
seen
so,
that.
di
Mm-mm,
ba? You've seen that a lot. Uh,
mm-mm.
and I do see influencer marketing being a big player pa rin in the next years and in the growth of the brands that we handle.
Yeah, that's good news, huh? For many people who are getting into influencer marketing, and also for
Mhm.
us, because you've seen how the industry has evolved through the years, and coming
Yeah.
from you that you know you see this playing a big role moving forward. That affirms our
Oo naman.
place. Our
Oo
place in
naman.
this industry, yeah.
Yeah.
And then speaking of that, sir, a lot of the people who are watching us and listening to us maybe have they're new in their careers and being there for quite some time now, being having experienced all of these ups and downs. What would be your advice to
Mm.
people who are new in marketing, maybe trying out their career in this field, maybe having a career shift to marketing? What would be your advice to them?
All right. I guess when I was in college, there was a preconceived notion that marketing, advertising, PR would be a glamorous job. Because the way it's being portrayed in
Ah,
media sometimes, Sex and the City, si Samantha
yes.
was, what's her name? was in PR, glamorous,
Yeah.
mounting such great parties and events. Um, it's sometimes that, but it's a lot of hard work too, no? So if you do want to get into marketing, you've got to understand it fully, and not just the superficial part of it that could be perceived as glamorous and
Mm-hmm.
very high society. No? A
Mm-hmm.
lot of PR work pa nga is grassroots. Eh. It's not
Correct. I
just,
super
di
agree.
ba? It's going to communities and trying to understand them better and finding ways to solve their problems
Yes.
through the brands that you're working with. No? So, no? So if you do want to get into marketing, try to understand it fully. Read a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Check out journals. Ang dami ngayon online, ha? All
Yeah.
of these articles on what the trends are and where
Mm-hmm.
PR or advertising or marketing is headed, uh,
Yeah.
how digital is growing and how digital is helping shape perception. Read
Mm-hmm.
about that. Understand the brands. Take a look at the own brands that you like and try to figure out what makes them successful for you. No? What did the brands do right that you're patronizing them? No?
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, how can you use that what that brand is doing? How can you use that and translate that into other stuff that you could do for other
Yeah.
brands? So it's really important to know very deeply what marketing is really all about, and to surround yourself with either materials,
Mm-hmm.
reading stuff, and even people uh, like you. That's what you did there. You
Yes.
surrounded yourself with people whom you could learn from. Do that.
Yes.
That's ako to this day. I know I don't know everything, but I do have friends whom I gravitate towards because I know I will learn from them. And
Yeah.
simply minsan just being in a Zoom meeting with them and hearing what they have to say,
Mm-hmm.
especially kunyari in the boards where I'm working sa 4As or
Mm-hmm.
sa
Mm-hmm.
PRSP,
Mm-hmm.
grabe when they talk, oh my God, that's something I learned
Yes. No. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
so much that you can pick up, but you just have to open your ears and open your minds so that
Right.
all of that information will be ingested by you. It's all out there.
Hmm.
It's just a matter of allowing yourself to be open so that you can receive all of that information that will allow you
Yeah.
personally to grow.
Yeah. Yeah. Ang ganda. Be a sponge, take
There
all
you
of that
go.
in. Be a
Yeah, there you
sponge,
go.
be an empty cup.
Yeah.
Hindi dahil sobrang dami mo ng experience in this industries, you know everything. There's always something to learn and be open to that.
Ay,
And
nako, totoo.
you're right. And I like what
Yeah.
you said about grassroots because that is very true. You know,
Di
People
ba?
would sometimes perceive marketing as, wow, marketing, daming budget, daming fun, daming parties, right?
Tapos,
But
tapos, tapos madidepress pag ma-discover naman they're finally working. Ay, hindi pala ganon.
di ba na
Taga-timpla pala ako
ganon?
ng kape ng kliyente.
Yes, wala palang budget always. Yeah. But anyway,
Ay, no.
Sir Norman, before we end this, I want to ask you if there are three things that you would want people to remember you by. What are these three things?
I will start with one. I don't know yet what the other two will be. But maybe as I talk, baka dumating. But one is, I'd like to be remembered as somebody who worked. I mean, how do I explain this more concretely? Kasi I started from the bottom eh. So even sa mismong office namin, although yeah, sure, I was heading a team of art directors and writers, but I myself I was illustrating, I was writing copy. I was doing the budget, I was planning media and scheduling when press releases ought to be dispatched. I did all of that as well because that was how I was trained by my sister and my dad. So I want to be remembered as somebody who really worked, hindi lang nag-utos.
Yes, yes, yes. I understand.
Kumbaga,
Yeah, correct.
no? And in fact, even in the industry associations where I work,
Yeah.
I want to make sure hindi lang ako nag-contribute sa discussion. I really mounted projects.
Yes.
Whether this be an education project program for professionals in our industry or something, or even for students,
Yes.
which I've been doing as well. I want to be known as someone who contributed to this industry hands-on, not only on a supervisory level, but who really did the work.
Yes.
Okay, I know now what my number two is.
Yeah.
Number two, I want to be remembered as someone who worked and tried to ensure that people had fun working with me. So we
Yeah.
will work hard, but we will have a lot of fun.
Yes.
Um, Eventually, siguro number three, I'd like to be remembered as someone, but I'm still trying to get there, who's able to balance it, who was able to balance everything correctly with the
Mm-hmm.
right amount of creativity and resourcefulness and
Mm-hmm.
ability to beat deadlines and
Yeah.
stuff. Both left brain and right brain balanced perfectly. That would be great, ano? But that's
Yes.
something we will just have to keep on achieving. Even if you don't achieve it perfectly,
Mm-hmm.
always need to aim for it. So yun,
Yes.
again, it's what is my first
Contributor, an active contributor. Yeah.
active contributor who worked very hands-on.
Mm-hmm.
Number
Mm-hmm.
two, who was able to infuse fun and
Yes.
in the things that we were doing and accomplishing, and doing this balanced in a balanced manner perfectly, left brain and
Right.
right brain.
Yeah. And I like how you started not knowing what to say, and then in the middle of it, okay, this is it. But then you summarized it pa rin, That really shows how effective of
That's
a communicator you
that's
are,
the
di ba?
teacher. That's the teacher we all are.
Yes, di ba?
Wala,
Laging parang sometimes you don't know what to say, but things will come, but then you will summarize it as if, yes, I knew what I needed to say
all
from the
along.
very beginning. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you very much,
Wala.
Sir Norman, for your time. I appreciate you being very generous with your time, talent, skill, and we hope that we could learn more from you in the coming days, months, years to come. Congratulations for all of your achievements, and we will be here supporting you. Maraming salamat, Sir Norman.
Maraming
Paalam.
maraming salamat. Yes, thank you so
Thank
much.
you
It's been a
very
pleasure.
much. Bye-bye.